Mr. President, First Lady, my colleague SAPM on Health, Parliamentary Secretary Health, UNICEF representative in Pakistan, parliamentarians, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to the presidency. I think both Dr. Faisal and Ida have reiterated three very important things. Number one, that breastfeeding, and especially exclusive breastfeeding, will give children the healthiest start in life. That's the first point they've made. The second point that they've made, very loud and clear, is that this is the most cost-effective intervention of all the interventions in the public health armamentarium that we have. And the third thing that they've underscored, very rightly underscored, is that exclusive breastfeeding is the surest way and the most cost-effective way to address malnutrition. And I completely agree with them. I don't think I can emphasize it further. These things are so very important. The evidence is screaming loud at us. But even in a country like Pakistan, with massive internet penetration, with massive access to radio and to television, we're looking at a figure of about less than half the women who practice it. This is unacceptable, and this has to change. And I will tell you that there is a very clear imperative for this to change as well. Because in the digital economies of tomorrow, there is a very clear realization that countries that will not invest in the health of their people, that the countries that will not invest in human capital development will not be competitive, will not be able to proceed ahead. A few years ago, there was a study which showed that 60% of the wealth of a nation today in this digital age, and this was pre-COVID, is contributed not by physical capital, is contributed not by technological capital. 60% of the wealth of the nation is attributable to human capital development. And I think in the post-COVID times, when there is a massive escalation of the reliance on digital technologies for everyday life and in every sphere, this percentage would increase even further. So against the backdrop of this realization, if we look at malnutrition trends, unfortunately, they don't look good. Ever since the early 60s, when the first National Nutrition Survey was conducted, to 2018, when the latest National Nutrition Survey was conducted, when we look at trend lines of underweight, stunting and wasting, we see horizontal lines, and this has to change. We cannot operate in this fashion in the world of tomorrow, because this is going to have significant implications for how we grow and progress as a nation. And perhaps that is why our Prime Minister, in his first speech, accepted that 48% of our children are stunted and committed that there will be specific interventions to address that. Stunting is particularly important because of the negative impact it has, not just on physical, but also on cognitive development. And subsequent to his commitment to launch interventions specific to stunting, all of us have our own charges in our own spheres of work. Health has a number of different interventions led by my very able colleague, Dr. Faisal Sultan. In the social protection rubric, I'm very humbled to let you know that we have launched Pakistan's first conditional cash transfer intervention on health and nutrition called Ehsaas Nasho-Numa. On a fast-track basis, we were able to conceptualize, roll out, and put in place Ehsaas Nasho-Numa centers in 13 districts. As of today, we almost have 48 Nasho-Numa centers up and running. And the plans are to further escalate them. Stunting is a affliction of deprivation. It illustrates the multifaceted deprivations And to address stunting, you need to intervene at multiple different levels. There are roles that the health sector has to play, very important roles that the health sector has to play, of which the most salient is the one that we are talking about. The local government system has to put in many interventions. Provincial governments have responsibilities. And under the rubric of the Social Protection Ministry, there is a mandate that we have to execute. But let me assure you that we are trying to work as one government to address what has become a very significant challenge, not just for our government, but for our nation. And in order to address this challenge, one of the simplest, cost-effective ways, which were reiterated by both my colleagues earlier, is to advocate for exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months. And I think you, as champion parliamentarians, as experts in your field, can really help the government's drive in this area. I really want to thank you for coming and for lending your voice and support to the efforts that are currently underway. Thank you.